Hello, everyone. We'll be starting in just a few minutes. Thank you for tuning in. Hi, Gail. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to start in just a few minutes. I appreciate your patience. Hi, David. Thank you for tuning in. I'm glad you're here. We'll be starting in just a few minutes, so I appreciate everyone's patience. So, do y'all have your masks? I have mine. My daughter made this beautiful mask for me. It matches one of my ribbon skirts. I really love it. I love the creativity of our people. We take something practical and make it beautiful, and other people call that art. So I'm going to go ahead and get started because David and Gail are here. Thank you. My name is Renee Roman Nose. I am Cheyenne from Oklahoma, where we were invited at gunpoint to live. Just I'd throw that out there because you got to look at these things with a sense of humor sometimes, otherwise it hurts your soul. So I began writing poetry when I was quite young, and it quickly became a therapy for me. It became very therapeutical, and it remains so to this day. And what I'd like to do today is to guide people into writing some poetry. So, David and Gail, are you ready? Grab some paper, grab a pen, and let's do a little bit of writing today. Let's write together. So this is actually my favorite paper to write on. It's called a landscape pad, simply because some of the lines that I have are really long, and then I don't want to run down to the next line because I'm still in my mind, I'm still on the same line. And you can write however you wish. I always encourage people to do that. There are many, many different forms of poetry, lots of different ways to to write, lots of different ways to express yourself, and we are going to look at that right now. So I encourage you to be creative with your words, be willing to take a healthy risk with your words, and just throw it out there. You know, make it something that is uniquely you, and also gives you the opportunity to share what you're thinking, what you're feeling. It doesn't necessarily have to do that, but it can. And it doesn't necessarily have to be shared, but it can. My poetry is written for spoken word. I'm a spoken word artist. And I like my poetry to flow in that way, so that people can hear it, and then they can it can reach them in my mind, a more visceral manner. So I would like to share a poem with you real quick. We'll start with that. There's a new anthology out called Power of the Storm. It is edited and gathered by Mary Jo Moore, and there's work in here from many, many Indigenous voices. It's really a pleasure to have a piece of mine included in this, along with many other people. So I have to. This makes me laugh because Suzanne Harjo and I both wrote for this book, for this anthology, and I actually wrote and I submitted a poem about Suzanne. So I'm going to share that with you right now, and it's from this book just published, Power of the Storm, dedicated to John Trudell. It's called She Walks in Beauty. She walks in beauty, head held high, the strength and courage of her people in her confident stride. A woman of the people, dedicated to treaty rights. She walks in beauty, recovering tribal lands, fighting for the rights of our youth, for the rights of our elders, for everyone in between, all across this land. She walks in beauty as she dedicates her life, tirelessly advocating against racist mascots, understanding their deleterious effects on our youth, modestly working behind the scenes, affecting policy and law across the country. She walks in beauty when she speaks on our behalf, tirelessly promoting healing for our Mother Earth, a modest advocate acknowledged by a Presidential Medal of Freedom. She walks in beauty, her Cheyenne and Muskogee heritage flowing through her blood and her life. She advocates for cultural rights through the Morning Star Institute. She walks in beauty, inspiring all who knew her. She walks in beauty, inspiring all who know her to follow the path she's blazed for us to walk united. Suzanne Shone Harjo, a woman of her people. So she is a very inspirational person to me. She's not just my sister, but she's also someone who inspires me and countless others with her tireless advocacy through the years, and it continues to this day. She is an amazing person, and I hope that you get to know some of her work through your life. So, Gail, do you write poetry? Or David, do either of you write poetry? Have you written in the past? Oh, hi, Alma. Hi, Pat. Welcome, everyone. Awesome. So, hi, Belle. Thank you for being here. I'd like you all to each grab a piece of paper, grab your pen, and I want you to. I'm going to do a guided visualization first, and then we're gonna write poetry. This is an interactive event, so I hope that you feel comfortable doing so, and I hope that you join me. So I would like for each of you to close your eyes, and I would like you to imagine yourself. You're lying on the ground underneath a tree. It's a bright, sunny day. And the beautiful shafts of sunlight are shining through the leaves of the tree. It's a deciduous tree, so the leaves have changed color because it's fall, but it's still bright and sunny, and you're warm, and you're lying on the earth, and you can feel the grass beneath you, and you're looking up, and you see the beautiful blue sky above you. You see this gorgeous tree full of reds and oranges and yellows and browns and, beautiful trunk. And in that tree are two squirrels. And they're gray squirrels with big long tail. And they're chittering at each other, just having a little squirrel argument. I want you to picture that in your mind. I want you to breathe in. Smell that crisp, clean air. Look at that gorgeous tree above you. Listen to those squirrels arguing with each other. Now I want you to open your eyes, and we're going to take a few minutes, and you're going to write exactly what you saw. And I, Renee Romanose, am going to guide you through today's poetry exercises and hopefully share some more poetry with you myself, as well as see some of yours. So tell me, what did you see? What did you feel? What did you hear? What did you smell? What did you experience? Write that down. Continue to picture those images in your mind. Picture the tree with its giant fall leaves. Maybe it's a big leaf maple. And I love that name, big leaf maple. It's like, oh, we couldn't think of anything more creative. It's got a big leaf and it's a maple. Let's call it that. My grandfather often told me that for every disease, there's a plant. And we know that to be true from our traditional ecological knowledge. And I hope that we find the plant for COVID-19 soon. And I hope that each of you are staying as safe as you can and practicing social distancing and wearing a mask to protect others as well as yourself. I'm the only one in my house, so the only being I would be protecting is my dog, and she's okay. So, in your writing, what did you see? Akosia, Miss Red Elk, write what you think, write what you feel. Gail, thank you for trying. Raylene, I'm glad you like writing. Thank you. Gail, we'll talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. Takanga, thank you. I hope I didn't mispronounce your name. Raylene, that's beautiful. Whispering in the trees, tell me to be free, free of disease and urge to please. How lovely. Thank you for sharing that. And that's what I'm hoping that we'll do here today is you'll share a little bit of what you're writing and what you're thinking. And I will try to keep up with your messages off to the right. So thank you for contributing. Thank you for being participatory in this because it's so much more fun when people are able to do that. I used to do poetry workshops all over the country and I just loved it. I went to Cherokee, North Carolina once and did several workshops for their high school youth and then an evening workshop for the community. And I got to watch a young girl go from, oh no, I don't want to share, and really shy to by the end of the evening, her hand was up first. And she said, I want to read what I wrote. It was so beautiful to watch how quickly she gained confidence and how quickly she was able to share what she had written. Bell, hillside wind, leaves, peace, calm, tranquil, birds, rustling leaves, sun, clouds, butterfly. Sometimes the poetry is in how you say it. Sometimes it's the performance that makes the poetry more powerful and makes it more, excuse me, 1 second. Okay, funny thing, I went to stand up and my necklace caught on the table. So I was like, So, like many of us, I've gone through many challenges in my life, and recently, well, anyways, this pandemic has been difficult for all of us. But I write poetry from the perspective of my friends. Oftentimes, I'll write poetry about the things they're going through, as well as the things I'm going through. So it's not always just my personal experience. Sometimes it's the experience of others, especially, sorry, my hair's all crazy today, especially in terms of historical generational trauma. When I read about things that happened to our ancestors, and we carry that within our DNA, we carry that trauma. But you know what? We also carry the resilience and the courage of our ancestors. And we need to remember that as well. And we need to let that uplift us. So I recently wrote a funny little poem. You're right, Raylene. Spoken word is a physical expression. It does create balance in your mind and body. I would like to see you try that, and film it. Send me the clip. So here's a little poem that I wrote. It's called "Sorry, Not Sorry." The text appeared stark on my phone. Then laughter burst forth from my long unkissed lips. Laughter fell and rolled and burst into garlands in the air around me, fell in clouds of petals, colorful and slowly descending around me, healing as they fell, gently enveloping me in color and soft care. Sorry, not sorry that you're single now. So that was a fun, silly poem that I wrote, and I thought you might enjoy that. All right, let's do another exercise. And I'm really grateful for those of you who are willing to share. Thank you for that. And also remember that the words that you write, it may be that those words will be shared with future generations in your family. Maybe you'll start. So I keep this little journal, and it's really just a little notebook, but it's got pages, and I write in it whenever I feel the desires. I write on my phone. I write on these big wide notepads. I love those, and I like that they come in different colors, so they're easier on your eyes. Um, anyway, I like the feel of the flow of the words, and for me, a lot of times, especially if I'm dealing with historical trauma or anything else, and that's difficult, I try to put it down. What are my thoughts? Where are they going? And sometimes, and we do this exercise with Native Wellness Institute. It's called hot penning, and it's an amazing exercise wherein you put your pen on the paper and you write for a few minutes, and you don't pick your pen up. Everything that runs through your mind, you write down. So right now we're going to do that. So take your pen, put it on your paper, and let's begin hot penning. Let's write every single thing that comes to mind, no matter how random, no matter how disconnected to the other thoughts in your head. It doesn't have to be a flow of words per se that have to do with one another. Just write down everything you're thinking. So I'll give you 2 minutes to do that. Okay, 1 more minute. Keep writing. Just write whatever comes to your mind, whatever words, whatever phrases. Maybe it's an image. Write about that image. Raylene, that's perfect. Words are powerful and healing. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, go ahead and end your writing. Would anyone like to share what they've written? If you would, please share it on the left, or please share it in the comments. And if you'll allow me, I would be honored to read it. So I want to share with you the current poet laureate of the United States of America is this fantastic woman, Joy Harjo, and I'm going to share a couple of her poems with you. This is called Once the World Was Perfect. Once the world was perfect and we were happy in that world. Then we took it for granted. Discontent began a small rumble in the earthly mind. Then doubt pushed through with its spiked head. And once doubt ruptured the web, all manner of demon thoughts jumped through. We destroyed the world we had been given for inspiration, for life. Each stone of jealousy, each stone of fear, greed, envy, and hatred put out the light. No one was without a stone in his or her hand. There we were, right back where we had started. We were bumping into each other in the dark, and now we had no place to live since we didn't know how to live with one another. Then one of the stumbling ones took pity on another and shared a blanket. A spark of kindness made a light. The light made an opening in the darkness. Everyone worked together to make a ladder. A Wind Clan person climbed out first into the next world, and then the other clans, the children of those clans, their children, and their children, all the way through time to now, into this morning light, to you. That's Joy Harjo writing in Conflict Resolutions for Holy Beings, Poet Laureate of the United States. So I'm going to share one more with you. Charlie and the Baby. Charlie was in Venice, wheeling his granddaughter in a stroller. Down the boardwalk, through noisy spring crowds, he was the happiest he'd ever been. He was with the baby. The sun and the ocean busied herself, carrying time and breaking it against sand. In the sky over Charlie and the baby were flights coming in from Hawaii, China, and other lands. They circled like reachable stars. Men fished from the pier. Mothers unfolded picnics as children played hide and seek. In the blue breathed immense light beings. From their eyes, we were lost and small. Charlie called and asked me how I was doing. I probably recited the usual, you know. I am living a life that takes me almost everywhere. Jet lag, band practice, the kids, poems. Charlie was weary with the poverty of making a living of comedy. We laughed. I could smell sea riding wind, could hear the baby's laughter. New plants were growing from the grief of my mother's recent death. We listened. As for poets, I said, it's about the same. We talked what we always talked: history, saxophones, kids, words, Floyd, Buffy, Jennifer, Jesus, healing, airplanes, Floyd, prayers, philosophy, Indians, and why we're in the predicament we're in. Every word that's ever said tries to find a way to live. You're gone now, and I'm still in this predicament called living, Charlie. I imagine things don't change much when you cross the line. You're still you, and I'm still here at the other end of this long, long wave, listening. Joy has just an amazing way to reach out to you. Hi, Brian. Thank you for tuning in. Raylene has shared security, intention, faith, stigma, value, incorporation, succumb to the resilience, embrace brilliance, Contradicting voices, thoughts in my bed, begin to dread, allow and thread the needle to the divine order. Well done. Native Queen, you do need to find yourself some journal. Journal love, absolutely. Oh, Belle, breath stuck, chasing happiness, exhausted, needing ceremony. Clear it out, grounded, release. My children, happiness, joy, love, excitement, love. Beautiful. Fabian, I'm glad you tuned in and I'm glad you're not driving while writing. I will admit that I may have done that a time or two. I appreciate you tuning in very much. Susan Davis, lying in our sandy driveway as a small child, being mesmerized by watching ants busying themselves. Beautiful. Carrie, beauty in the memory making, standing tall and brave in the storms, believing in the roots that hold and connect to our Mother Earth. Prayers to keep the roots intact as the threads are going and filtering within. Lovely, lovely. Akosha, comfort in knowing that the people are remembering and reprogramming. Absolutely, it is in the air. She says, I smell it, I feel it rippling through the dimensions. It's rainbow in color penetrating our skin. We are remembering. Poetry can be so beautiful, and it can also harbor the pain that we go through in our lives and that we struggle with. And that's okay. It's okay to have those things. It's okay to express those things. And it's vital to do so. So I'm really glad that each of you are taking opportunity to share and to be here this morning. And I'm trying to find another poem I'd like to share with you. This poem was written after my mother passed, and it was a really difficult time for all of us, my sisters, my brother, and I. And, you know, as with all loss, we get through it. It's normal and it's okay. We come out the other side. But in my grief, in the loss of my mom, I I struggled with that. And right now, as we are going through a pandemic, we are all struggling. Unfortunately, there's folks who don't believe it's real, and I pray that it doesn't, touch them because it's all too real. I've had family members with it. I've lost friends to COVID-19, and I pray that our communities will continue to be resilient and continue to practice safe social distancing and stay home as much as possible and protect our family members, our elders, our community members by wearing a mask. Ta-da! Remember, here's my cool mask. If you were here, I'd wear it. So in losing my mom, one of the things that was mentioned was that a neighbor wanted this rose that was in my mom's yard. And in my grief, I said no, because every time I would visit my mom, we would walk out and look at the rose. And she just loved to share that with me. And I cherish that. So I wrote this poem inspired by a dear, dear friend of mine, Crystal Shade. We've been best friends since middle school. And she came and helped me with my grief, helped me get through that time. Many, many people did. It was just really wonderful to have that village around me. So this is called Orange Rose. Dig it up, I told my son. Put it in a pot and in my car. I drove with it across the continent after she died. Once home, I carried it lovingly inside, placed it next to a large window where it could be caressed by the sun. It's blossomed 3 times since her last day. I like to think it's her, echoing over and over those many miles and many nights since she went away, remembering always. She heard my first breath. I heard her last. Thank you for letting me share that with you. Koja shares, I smell it, I feel it rippling through the dimensions, it's rainbow in color, penetrating our skin. We are remembering. Raylene says, it helps me understand myself and where I'm emotionally. It's invigorating. So poetry can be many things to many people. It can be comic. I write a lot of comedic poetry about silly situations we find ourselves in as tribal people, and I enjoy that poetry. In fact, my second book focuses largely on that, and it's currently with the publisher. It's called Have War Paint Will Travel, and because I consider makeup to be war paint, and I'm wearing some right now on my lips. And as I look out my window, I can see the fall colors, and I see the oranges and a little bit of green, and I can see the Olympic Mountains, and I can see the water of the bay. I live in Washington State, and I'm really blessed to have so many mountains around me, and I draw a lot of inspiration from mountains and from the beauty that's around me. And sometimes the beauty that is surrounding us is as simple as in the smile of someone we love. It's in the voicemail that's left on our phone when that person is thinking of us, and or someone else is thinking of us and wants to share how they feel about us. So those kind of things are just inspirational moments. And it's really a pleasure to share the poetry that moves our soul. A lot of times we have moments that are difficult for us. We struggle. We're going through strife right now in this pandemic, and we are pushing ourselves to get through each and every day. Take a moment, put those words down, put your anger down, put your fear, put your frustration. So this next exercise, that's exactly what we're going to do. So your title is Pandemic. Put your pen to your paper and tell me what the pandemic means to you, and then share it in the comments if you feel comfortable doing so. I encourage you to do so. The more you share your poetry, the more you speak in public, the better you become at it, the more comfortable you become with it. And I encourage you to do so. I encourage you to write. So pandemic, what does that mean to you? What words come to your mind? What phrases? Does it make you angry? Does it make you frustrated? Does it make you feel tears? Does it make you afraid? Does it make you want to stay inside? Or does it make you want to run unfettered through the forest? Does it make you hold your grandchildren closer when you're in a store and you're all masked up and people brush too closely to you? What does the pandemic make you feel? So I'll give you 2 minutes. And be patient with yourself. Sometimes the words won't come right away, but they're there. I find that the words of poetry are often simmering below the surface, like a stew that you've had on all day, big pot of soup where things come to the surface slowly. And sometimes poetry is like that. Sometimes it'll grab you and pour forth like a waterfall, and you can barely write it fast enough to keep up with the words that are tumbling through your mind. That's okay. Let them tumble. Put them down on paper. Put them into a song. Bill, I love soup. What a cute comment. I had salad today. Maybe soup tomorrow. Anyway, take that moment. Okay. Would anyone like to share? Debbie, very well said. For me, it's roller coaster. Feelings are all over the place and change daily. Thankful, Carrie says, thankful for the village that surrounds me, the teachings that bind us together so we can grow with time, ever remembering time immemorial that inspires us in the moments of pandemic. My people are resilient and strong. Donnie says, the pandemic gives me anxiety, but has brought out a deeper level of love I didn't even know I had. I have the need to embrace my daughters even more than I already do. I cry each time I see them and hug them and breathe them in. That's beautiful, Donnie. Thank you. Thank you, everyone who is willing to share and take a moment. Please feel free to post up some more. Victoria, mask up. I pray for my elders' safety. I pray for my family's safety. Uncertainty is scary. This is not our first pandemic. It is 500 plus years of pandemic. My people are resilient and strong. Looking at your words again, uh, thankful for the village that surrounds me, the teachings that bind us together so we can grow with time, ever remembering time immemorial that inspires us in the moments of despair in this pandemic. Our ancestral spirit is a true guide for our strength. A lot of times you got to look at poetry again and again before you can really process it. You know, it has so many layers, and sometimes I remember. Okay, so I remember taking a class in English literature in what the heck was it? In college, and we read this poem, and it was about a young man cutting firewood in the forest with his father, with chainsaws and axes, and it just went on. And I thought, what a beautiful poem this was, and how indicative it was of a bonding between a father and a son, and carrying on traditions to keep our families warm. And afterwards, the instructor said, what was this poem about? And I expressed that. I was like, well, this was a beautiful poem, and it was about the bonding between this father and son. And I gave my little explanation. And then she said, no, this was about suicide. I'm like, what? Did we read the same poem? So you have to remember that your poetry is going to be filtered through the life and the experiences and the awareness of whoever's listening. So if someone takes it in a way that you didn't intend it, that's okay. That's their own filter. It's all right. I remember writing a poem about a young friend of mine who was a fancy shawl dancer, and she was beautiful, beautiful young girl at the time. This was some 25 years ago, and I'm sure she's still a beautiful woman today, but I've lost touch with her. Anyway, so I wrote this poem about her, and her beauty drew people to her. It drew a lot of male attention, and she enjoyed that. So I wrote that poem about her. And then somebody said, "Oh, that poem's about you." I'm like, "No, that poem's not about me, but it is about someone I know whose beauty surpasses all understanding and whose heart is as big as the sky." So, sometimes your poetry may be misinterpreted, and that's okay. Like I said, it's filtered through someone else's experiences. Raylene, pandemic, no words to say. The grief that I feel across the nation. Resistance to heal, but an urge to feel what is love, inspiration through loneliness. Kelly shared, feeling boxed in, loneliness all around, death everywhere, survival mode like Morse code. Teaching kids how to hunt, teaching them how to gather, living far away, secluded, I would rather. Just me, them, no father, strength in my daughters. Absolutely, absolutely. Those traditional teachings and traditional ways of living and being are vital. I used to take my children into the forest. We would go hiking a lot, and when they were young, and I would, not that they're old now, but when they were kids, I would take them into the forest and I would test them. Okay, you're trapped. You're in the forest. You don't know how to get out of the forest, and you're lost. How do you survive the night? How do you stay warm? What do you eat? Where? How do you find shelter? So all those things I would test my kids about, and I'm really proud of them now. They take their children into the forest and they teach them. My kids are grown now, and I'm really grateful for the time that I had with them as young kids when we could adventure so much, and I really enjoyed that. Anyone else like to share? And feel free, if you see a comment or a poem above that you like, um, feel free to post up. I would love to read your stuff aloud and share it with you. I appreciate so many people coming in and taking part. It's really wonderful to see each of you here and to share this time with these words with you. So I have a terrific poet friend. I have many poetic friends, but one springs to mind right now. His name is Robinson Bolcom, and he writes hilarious rhyming poems that lead one to the next. And he has I believe 4 books that he's written, and each poem is a setup for the next poem. So it's really fun and clever and lighthearted and entertaining. Your poetry can be all of those things. It can be heart-wrenching like the Orange Rose. It can be, funny like the first poem I shared with you, which funny, silly. It can be deep. It can be like the poetry of Joy Harjo and the writing of Suzanne Harjo. There's so many opportunities for us to share our words in a good way, and we're that kind of people. We're storytellers. We are people who um, share words in a good way, and sometimes, tough words. So here's a poem that's from Joy Harjo. This was, again, from her Conflict Resolution for Holy Beings. And you can get this on Amazon. Oops, turn this away. This morning I pray for my enemies. And whom do I call my enemy? An enemy must be worthy of engagement. I turn in the direction of the sun and keep walking. It's the heart that asks the question, not my furious mind. The heart is the smaller cousin of the sun. It sees and knows everything. It hears the gnashing even as it hears the blessing. The door to the mind should only open from the heart. An enemy who gets in risks the danger of becoming a friend. How beautiful is that? So here's one more I would like to share with you, again from Joy Harjo, our um, poet laureate of the United States. This is called Forever, a Song. In the night of memory, there is a mist. In the mist is a house. It's the heart where we lived. In that living was a radio. Guitars played our song. You'd catch me in your arms. We'd go round and round. Where does it go, this forever? Once I was broken by time. There was no house in the mist. I lost sunrise. I lost your fire against mine. A country was falling and falling. I turned my ears to catch music. Nothing came back. No angels of laughter. No you. I stood alone in the emptiness of memory forever and ever. Where does it go, this forever? And what about sorrow? I asked time. Time had nothing to say. It walked away. Where does it go, this forever? I crossed time to the house in the mist. It's not any house. It's the heart where we live. In that living is a radio. There are guitars, a bass, some drums, and a horn. They play our song. You catch me in your arms and we go round and round. We are laughter and flying. We are fire and wet. In this time, we live forever and ever and ever. I really appreciate you letting me share the poetry of Suzanne Harjo. Raylene, I'm really glad for your comments. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rebecca. Poetry can be emotional, and often it is. I find it to very much to be that. Last poem touched me deeply, and I don't mind saying that. It's healthy to share our feelings. It's healthy to have feelings, and especially during this difficult time, it's healthy for us to shed tears. Tears are a gift from the Creator. Tears are for healing. Let your tears fall. Don't carry them inside like a burden. Let them fall away and heal you, heal your heart, your spirit, and your life. And let your words flow like tears onto the page. Put them down and see them over there. Look at them later. You don't have to carry them with you all the time. Donnie's sharing a poem. I'm gonna read this too. She says, I know this is very long, but I wanted to share. I wrote this a few weeks ago. It's called Your Sun. The sun peeked into my mind. It was so bright, blinded by its voice, armored with my dreams. I pulled the curtains to see closer, my heart pumping against my feelings. A soft voice enveloped my heart and spoke words of hope and inspiration. I breathed in, held my breath for what seemed hours. He had heard each of my prayers, answered them in his time, and whispered divine poems in my ear all through the day and night. He sent me to a movie, all the memories and his words on the bright screen in my mind for me, just me. Gain insight, he told me, and that it's time to let go of all my fears. Lean on me, he said. Hand over your worries. Look into the light. I will protect your eyes and your heart. Don't be afraid. Never will I depart. Share with others what you have seen and keep your heart open to everything this life has to offer. The sun, the dawn of a new day, the moon and the stars, the calm after the first snow, the unconditional love of your animals, the smell of pouring rain, and the touch of a loved one. Those are my promises to help you through the day and night. I am here with you, my beautiful daughter. You are my child. Place your tiny hand in mine. Walk with me in the sun and feel my warmth on your glistening nose. The sun, God's light, the sun, his embrace, the sun, his warm love created for you. That was absolutely lovely. Thank you. Natasha, thank you for commenting. So we're going to write one more poem. And this one, I want you to continue to be real, continue to be visceral, dig deep, and tell me what love means to you. Take your pen, take your paper. You have 2 minutes. Tell me what love means to you. Okay, just one more minute. Tell me what love means to you. And then please share it in the comments. Okay. Maria, very nice to be kind to yourself and all. So on my little piece of paper, I had written our earlier prompt, which was pandemic. I don't know if you can see that. And then I wrote, love. So then I wrote a poem about pandemic love. But I did tell you to be visceral and be real. In a time of great loss, your hand reached for mine. Across the miles, across time itself. Safely, we connected. Tenuously at first, then stronger. Building on our foundation. Until I felt your strength flowing into me from afar. Feeling your care and love. Deeper than I ever imagined. I know, um, in thinking about writing this, I just have so many wonderful people in my life, and I'm so grateful for that. And I miss them. We all miss them. We miss our family. We miss our friends. And that's what I was thinking of. All those intersections. I've had friends from high school reach out to me and college, and just friends in my life. And what a gift that is. That's I'm so grateful to have that. Um, Thank you for your comment, Bobby. And oh, Shaw, that's beautiful. Love is a warm touch, a smell, a sight, a feeling. Raylene, love, nourishment, subtle encouragement, delving deep within my skin, inclusive in all its might, not afraid to bite. Sometimes love does have a bite, a warm embrace, not willing to fight. Ah, so I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in today to Native Wellness Power Hour. Native Wellness Institute offers these every day, and they're from 12 to approximately 1 o'clock. And we bring in guest speakers from all across the country to share and to help you and to serve as a wonderful resource at this time and always. So I encourage you to tune into the Native Wellness Power Hour every day if you can. And thank you very much for tuning in today and sharing your poetry, your words. Okay, Belle, that's hilarious. Snagging during COVID equals ew. No snagging during COVID. Just be safe. That's all we got to do. Again, poetry can be hilarious. So thanks again. I'm Renee Roman Nose. My book is Sweetgrass Talking, published by Uttered Chaos Press, and available through them or through me if you're interested in getting a copy. And my second book, Have War Paint Will Travel, is currently with the publisher, and I'm hoping it'll be published, if not this year, then early in 2021. So, Jennifer, I'm going to take a moment and read your poem real quick. Thank you. Oops. Okay. Uh-oh. Something just popped over your whole comment, Jennifer. Oh, there it is. Okay. Remembering them, understanding, flexibility, forgiveness, tender whispers, tender touches, tender voices, tears or memories, tears of joy, the reminder from our ancestors in my dreams. Oh, lovely. Natasha, love means a warm hug. Love means a helping hand when most in need. Love means a kind, warm gesture, a warm smile. Love means an eternity, never going away, always tucked safely in the heart. Teresa Snow, love is seeing my girls and grandson every day, knowing we can co-create beautiful memories together and that love is truly unconditional. Love is knowing my worth and to always be gentle, especially in this time. Love allowed me to know my son for 6 months before he made his journey as an infant. I learned to be grateful for the time he had with me. Before I looked at it as I only had a little time with him, but really he chose all his time on earth here with me. To me, that is love. That's absolutely beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, everyone, for joining in today. Charlotte, how wonderful to see you. Look forward to hearing from you, and I hope you're doing well. Charlotte's one of my former students. And so I'm going to go ahead and check out for today. If you're interested in another poetry hour, let us know. I'll be happy to do another one at another time. I just really enjoyed my time with you today. My hands go up to each of you. Haishka, Haishka Siem. Have a wonderful, blessed day.